some of the stats on what people use AI for are really weird. Like, I think over half of people now use it as like companionship. And I was talking about how many people like use it as a psychologist or as a friend or a companion.
That's so dangerous because it is the ultimate yes man. And that's one of the most frustrating things about it, is because if you do want someone to like fact check you or just like kind of play that like the devil's advocate or even red team some of the things you're thinking about, it's just kind of like, it's really hard to get it to play that game.
It's got a little bit better, but it used to be a serial glazer. Like, it used to just be like, that is the best idea I've ever heard of. The Jevons Paradox. I thought it was pretty interesting.
What's it called?
Did make me think about, it's called Jevons Paradox.
Jevon.
Yeah, Jevons. Jevons.
Can you give us a soldier's 5 on it?
It's essentially that the more things become efficient, instead of it like, it has the opposite effect of what you think it would do. So instead of like efficiency leading to things not happening as much, or like jobs becoming more redundant, jobs become more plentiful because they're worth more, I guess you would call it. So radiology was the example used in the reel that I tagged you in, where it's like 5 years ago, they predicted that radiologists would be just pointless because LLMs were so good at doing their jobs. But the adverse has happened where they now need way more radiologists because radiology has become way more important because it's so much more efficient, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Jevons Paradox.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
Up on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so I guess
it made me think about it from Intel's, like the way AI is like affecting intelligence.
Yeah. So as things become more efficient, it doesn't necessarily mean things like people lose jobs
will become
and things get
more
easier.
Yeah.
Because you can do more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the way I see it, because it's like, it kind of goes hand in hand with like the growth of corporate intelligence of like, as collection becomes less focused on like high-end classified reporting and becomes more like OSINT based, you've seen like the boost in corporate intelligence because it's actually accessible to like a corporate market. And I just see AI like kind of giving that a bit more of a boost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, what it does, at the moment at least, it speeds up a lot of the grunt work for an analyst, especially when you're doing the heavy lifting around data, the collection, data triage, prior to getting to the analysis part, which is still very much in the realm of the human analyst. So to speed up that whole part prior to actually getting into the information, it just makes an analyst's job better. You can actually do more. Doesn't mean you're going to get replaced. Yeah.
No, and I think it'll lead to more businesses wanting to invest in intelligence because they can get more for their buck, right? If you can have like 1 or 2 analysts in your company and they're providing huge value in your decision making, that's way better than either outsourcing it to like a third party provider at significant cost or like needing a massive team to do the job. Like, it just becomes much more palatable, especially in the corporate world where Intel is seen as like a cost burden, essentially, not really it doesn't make them money. So they don't see it as like, it's not like marketing or sales where like there's clear outcomes from like Intel, even though there is like there's reporting and there's helping decisions being made. That's not what helps them make money. It's more seen as like an expense. So
yeah. How are corporations using Intel?
So there's
two today, outside of like due diligence kind of stuff.
So there's 2 kind of streams to how a business uses Intel. There's the security aspect, which is like kind of what we already know and very heavily focused on like either travel security, physical security, or geopolitical risk. They're kind of like the realms of that. Even actually, I think geopolitical risk would even be like its own sector of that. So you have like the security team, and let's talk about like large banks, right? You're talking like JP Morgan-esque size. They'll have their like security and crisis management cell, and they're focused solely on travel and physical security. So they're doing just pretty standard like open source intelligence collection focused on threats against either like named towards the company. So like, are people on social media directing threats to the company? This could be from like issue motivated groups or disaffected persons, things like that, your pretty classic threats. And then travel security. So like there's a pretty strong burden of like, I don't know, proof isn't the right word, but like a company has to look after a person if they've sent them somewhere. Like you're responsible for their safety. Yeah. So if you've sent like a traveler to the Philippines, let's say, and something happens there, there's actually a really good case study for this exact situation. And something happens there, you can be held liable for their safety and security if you didn't provide them with enough information going into it. So a case like, I think it's like 10, 15 years ago, business traveler from an American company goes to the Philippines, gets kidnapped for ransom. The company messes the kidnappers around. They cut his fingers off. They sent them to his family. They obviously then shit the bed and paid the ransom because, he's losing digits. So he then got released. And once he got back to the US, he sued the company for negligence. And I think the company ended up going under. But he got paid a lot because they were like negligent in the lead up to it. So they provided him with like no awareness of the risks he was going to be facing in the country. And then they were negligent when it started happening.
Fuck.
So that's like that's a more traditional way that a corporation would use intel.
Yeah.
And then you have the due diligence, corporate investigations type stuff, which is looking at business transactions, legal disputes, shit like that. Yeah.
Going back to that paradox and AI and the use of intelligence, how are you using AI day to day?
I use
it
for
what you do.
Shitloads. Yeah. So a lot of like refining information. So like I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand a large legal document. So I'll just feed it straight into an LLM and just be like, summarize this legal document for me in 2 paragraphs, let's say. And it will spit out a simplified summary of what the legal case means. And then I can put that straight into the report so that the reader also doesn't have to wade through pages and pages of legal documents. And then you just put the source down as the legal document. If they want to go read it, cool. That's the key, like the main one that I'm using it for. I'm trying to use it a bit for collection. So there's a AI company called Perplexity, and it's a much more like research focused AI model. And I'm like double checking searches using it. So like putting in similar searches that I'm doing through like Google Dorking for adverse media to see what happens. And it's coming out with similar results. I haven't seen anything crazy, but I definitely wouldn't be putting all my faith in it yet. There are some like extremely impressive like AI software providers that provide like research software now, but it's not cheap. It's like the cost of an analyst, basically. Like that's essentially how a company views it. It's like one person with that is the same as 2 people, basically.
Yeah.
But I think as their costs come down, it could become more viable. But yeah, it's mostly like I see it as if I'm putting stuff into it, I can get good stuff out of it as long as I'm not asking it to make stuff up, or like that's when I start to see errors and like, when it starts to imagine things or stray off the garden path a bit.
Hallucinate.
But no, I think it's great.
Yeah.
For both like my day-to-day job and HM. Like it's
Right.
It's an absolute savior.
Yeah.
I think.
How do you use it with HM?
Just same. Summarizing articles. So like I'll put in like 3 or 4 different news articles on the same topic and get it to summarize it. And then it'll get all those articles and smash them all together and give you a bit more of a rounded kind of conversation about what happened rather than the bias that one newspaper might give you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same. So quite open about, especially on the social media front, I'm quite open about the use of AI and using it to write some of the content and all that kind of thing. And it's a no-brainer. And you and I both know there are people out there that get up in arms about it and have called us out. And I frankly don't care. Like it's a tool that I use. And if you want to pump out content at scale on an open source platform like Instagram, for example, you just have to do it. Like it just speeds up. Unless it just becomes your full-time job. Otherwise, you're sitting there writing these thought pieces that realistically no one's going to read on the platform anyway. So my workflow is, I'll scrape open sources. I'll then put it into an LLM. That LLM is already trained on the way that I already write and content that I've written myself in the past. So it knows exactly the tone and voice and exactly what I need to write. And much like yourself, I'll give it a bunch of different sources to summarize and then spit out its output. And now the key thing that I want to say here is that I don't just put stuff into it. I actually give it the points that I want to make as well, especially when it comes to making some sort of like first line assessment. I'll be like, this is what I'm trying to say. You just write it for me. And then it does it and I'm happy. Yeah. If people have a problem with that, then I think, they just got to take a step back, because I was doing some research before this conversation and, I was looking at the UK with the Ministry of Defence, and they talk about using AI. It's not about replacing an analyst. It's about speeding up the work. Places like MI6, they're using AI, especially with identification and disrupting the flow of weapons to Russia with the Ukraine war. It's like, well, if these big agencies are using it for real work, then I'm going to use it for Instagram. Like, calm down.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I just see it's just another tool. I don't see the big, because like it kind of goes back to the paradox, right? I don't see it replacing humans at I think at some scale it will replace, like, a team might be made up of like 3 or 4 analysts rather than 10, let's say, because those 3 or 4 can be more efficient with their time and workload. Like, so there's going to be a loss there, but you still need humans to like use the tool to put stuff in, take stuff out, make assessments based upon the information. Yeah, I don't see it as, I don't know. I think if you're not using it, you're just wasting time. And also,
absolutely.
People's attention span these days is shockingly low. So, fuck it.
Yeah, 100%. And also with like open source aggregators, like those big platforms that are for sale, a lot of them are AI integrated now anyway to spit out the reports.
They all say they are, at least.
Yeah. But all it is, they're essentially just reaching into an LLM API, really, and then using that to spit out an output inside their platform. And companies are paying megabucks for it.
That's what there's only 8 real providers of like AI, and like all other companies are essentially just jumping on the back of those 8 companies. I can't remember. It's 8 or 10 or something like that. There's not many. Like there are a finite amount of these companies that are really making LLMs, and the rest of them are just using the API to make decisions.
Yeah. And they're essentially just creating a front end or like a user experience with the API as a back end and just spitting out their prompt.
But then if you think about it, there's stuff there that it would be super beneficial for. Because like like Palantir, for example, what has now become the boogeyman company of the world. Back when we used Palantir, it was manual tagging.
Yeah.
We had to go in and manually tag every report for all of our link diagrams, all of the, and like I remember spending hours in the skiff just tagging up documents, and And if you can get some kind of AI that could tag documents for you, mate, your ability to make, like, understand situations would be so much more enhanced. Like, it's going to make mistakes and it needs to be double checked for, like, sure, especially if you're putting it into some workflows that have more serious results. But, like, there's some manual work there that could be, like, enhanced to disgusting levels. Same with, like, Babel Street or Data Miner, these companies that are essentially, like, aggregating social media content. Like, they all now say they use AI.
Yeah.
And that's all they've just enhanced their ability to scrape the internet with AI. So, I don't know. And they don't have their own LLMs. They're just using someone's. So
because do you know how Palantir's using AI these days? I don't have a clue because I've been out of it for a while.
I haven't used Palantir since I left the military.
Yeah.
They use it for a lot. I mean, they are, if you want the boogeyman side of the story, they're involved in a project that's working towards, like, AI kill chain style stuff that still has, like, human decision makers, as using AI for network analysis to identify high priority targets and then recommends them for an action, which is, I think it's like Project Leviathan or something. It's got a horrific name as well. Like, the brand, like, the branding's as bad as it sounds. But
it was Gotham when we were using Palantir. Palantir Gotham, like, that was the platform we were using, but now it's probably they've got all sorts of cool names. But I would have loved to have some sort of integration where we were using that kind of platform. And something that I was thinking about lately is, and I don't know if they're doing that, and I'd assume they might be. As you work on a topic or a problem set, you essentially build a case file, right? Like you did in the platform. You had your project or whatever it was called, and then it constantly researches and learns off the things you're tagging, of the reports you're tagging, and then starts, like, looking for trends inside it. Yeah. And, like, builds out in a book. Man, that would be massive. And I don't know if they're doing that. And it, like, starts, like, identifying information gaps. It starts identifying things you could potentially put in an assessment. Yeah, be wicked.
So there's a company called Zapier who do this for due diligence, right? And it's like, you give it, say, a company name and, like, some more identifying features. So it could be like company X located in Australia. They work in the mining industry and this guy's a director, right? And this AI will go out and it'll look for everything that fits that criteria. And then it'll come back to you and you'll either confirm or deny facts. So it'll be like, yes, that article is them. And then it'll take all of the information from that article and then redo its search with all the new information that it now knows. And it can just do that over and over and over again. And every time it gets confirmed results, it builds its knowledge base and, like, keeps researching. And so exactly what you said. It's like learning from itself and, like, constantly building a better data set to do its own research for you. So that's the one I was talking about, where it's like, it's amazing. It's just expensive.
Yeah. Imagine that, like inside, like, the kill chain or, like, in the targeting process. It's just targeting, learning, and then it finds out where they are. Like, there's a 90% probability they're in this location.
Yeah. And it's like, even like, you don't have to sit down and read through all of the reports. Like, it's looking into the database for reports as they're getting fed in. And then it's like, hey, you should read this report because and it can flag it to you because it's like, well, that fits 8 out of the 10 criteria that I know you're interested in. So then, and it could be like, a SIG intake that's like, X selector is in this location. And you're like, hey, that's really fucking important right now. So I can see how it would be unbelievably helpful. I can see why people are scared as well, though, right? But as long as there's humans that are making decisions in this process and it doesn't have full automation to get to the end of the cycle, as we would say, then I think it's fine.
Yeah, well, I've always been pretty bullish on AI and its capabilities and what that means for analysts and even decision makers, especially as it advances. And then when you talk about things like AGI, and I don't know where companies are with that at the moment, but if and when that comes, then what?
I listened to a podcast talking about like the concept of AGI the other day, and it was, I can't remember who it was now, and he had a good point. And he's like, if one of these companies gets AGI, they're not telling you.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to tell anyone, right? Yeah. Why would you? You have the wonder weapon. Like, you have the thing that's everyone's been, you're just going to keep it to yourself. You can recreate every company on earth.
Yeah.
Like, you can just do whatever you want. Why would you tell people?
Yeah.
Just keep it to yourself. Like, that makes complete sense. And like, essentially, if you're investing in these companies, you're just funding them getting to this point, and then they're going to be like, cheers, see you.
Do you think these AI companies have more capability than they're letting on, or that they release publicly?
Yeah,
like behind the scenes, they've got some like crazy shit going on, and it's just like, oh man.
But it's the issues that I think come with it, right? Because if you're going to release an AI publicly, then it has to be stress tested, red teamed. It has to be at a certain level of like safety that, because people are going to try fuck with it and like try get it to do horrible stuff. It's trying to get it to like help you with scamming, help you with committing crime. Like, so you need to be pretty confident, or even like the other side of it where it's like encouraging people to take their own lives. Like, if you're OpenAI, you have to be pretty confident that you're going public with a pretty robust tool. And like, so if you don't need to worry about that, it's going to be way more capable, of course, but it's also going to be way more risky. So you don't want just any Joe to get involved with it, because the outcomes could be, isn't like some of the stats on what people use AI for are really weird. Like, I think over half of people now use it as like companionship. Yeah. Have a check. I can't remember where I read it. And it was talking about how many people like use it as like essentially to like as a psychologist or as a friend or a companion.
That's so dangerous, because it is the ultimate yes man. And that's one of the most frustrating things about it, is because if you do want someone to like fact check you or just like kind of play the devil's advocate or even red team some of the things you're thinking about, it's just kind of like, it's really hard to get it to play that game.
It's got a little bit better, but it used to be a serial glazer. Like, it used to just be like, that is the best idea I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Well,
like,
since you mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're like, you're wrong. And it's like, yeah, sorry, I am.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is frustrating like that, because I thought day to day for me, when I'm not using it for anything work related, it's just a search engine, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a pretty good search engine. That's what I like to use it for.
Yeah. Because you can just ask it random questions and it'll give you a pretty reasonable answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually with a source as well, which is good.
Yeah. And I think they're like looking into like shopping. So like it'll like recommend items or products. Because their big issue now is they're not making any money. Like, that's OpenAI's new problem, is you're not profitable. So have you seen this weird investment cycle that they've done? So OpenAI has promised Oracle $100 billion. Oracle's promised NVIDIA $100 billion, and NVIDIA has promised OpenAI $100 billion. So it's just like, okay, we're just
everyone promise each other money.
Yeah. And that's why they're talking about like the US economy is a massive bubble, and yeah. And I mean, when you look at like, it's like 50% of the US share market is all in 7 companies, and like 3 of them are in AI, or 4 of them are in AI. Like, yeah, it's pretty risky.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, we talked about Palantir and AI in that aspect, and it would be really, really beneficial for like the tactical level kind of intelligence work, right? So looking for the tangibles and providing recommendations on those and all that kind of thing. But where do you think it sits at the strategic level? So when you're looking at those that geopolitical analysis and politics and economies and leaders, how does that work?
I think when it's dealing with humans, I think it's going to be less effective. I said this, I was talking to another, I forget his name, Ryan, I think it is, on another podcast. I was talking about how Trump is unpredictable because you never know what he's going to do, basically. Stuff like that, I think, is always going to have an effect because it's hard for humans to anticipate humans, let alone, like they'll apply statistics, presumably. Like, what is the most probable thing for X person to do? But that doesn't take into account how they're feeling that day, or if they feel wronged by a country or a person in the past, or stuff like that. So I think there's going to be definite challenges. But I mean, going back to what we're saying, like doing the grunt work of writing these reports is still going to be beneficial. Like it can still gather you up like the 20 best sources on a government or a topic.
Yeah. So this is on the screen for those that are watching the podcast. This is an AI generated report that I have each day in our Discord channel, and it just gets pumped out. And so this whole thing is generated by AI, and I'm very open about that. So people don't assume that we've got people writing these, but to structure a report like this, it goes through the whole cycle, right? It goes through, I've given it the direction, it's gone through, it's collected all the information, it's then gone through, processed it, and then done some sort of analysis based on what I've given it, looking at that first line piece, and then spit out a report. This is kind of the example of where we're at in terms of, generating a pretty decent situation update sort of thing.
Do you feed it, like give it anything for the assessment, or is it self-assessing that?
So I've tried to give it, how to do sats, for example, right? Give it PDFs on this is how you do X, Y, Z, giving it lessons on inductive versus deductive logic and how to think. But obviously it's not a thinking model, so it's actually pretty limited. But
it's essentially, my friend explained it to me as it is just using the next most likely word.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah.
So, and with the assessments, I mean, they're very just high level, almost like no shit sort of things.
Okay.
But
that makes
sense.
Still something.
Yeah, it's still something. And I mean, I've seen worse in real life. So
Yeah. Like, cheers for that, mate. I hope they didn't take you a week.
Yeah. But the reason why I share this is just because that's generated in about 30 seconds to a minute, going through the whole.
It's like, even if that was where you're starting from, if you're like an Intel analyst that is about to write a report on that topic, right? And you can get a program to give you that straight away. Like you're so much further ahead than we would have been in the same situation without an AI model. Because we would have had to go read all of these reports, figure out all of this stuff, and then you're 2 or 3 hours into this project or your day, essentially, where it's like this would just spit that out and you're just reading key points. You're like, okay, that's a great base level, and let's build upon that and write a more it's just focused for whatever the decision maker is actually needing to make a decision on for that particular report.
Yeah, that's really key. So, I wish I had that back when I was doing this sort of stuff, and using this example, this would be a great start point. Get that. If you have the sources linked to some of the information, you can fact check it, and then just build upon it if you need to.
Yeah.
But as a start point, it's brilliant in my point of view.
Yeah, you're so much further ahead. It's just straight oh, cool, done, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having to source your own shit. And find it all.
Yeah. I wonder if defense are using AI day to day, like the analysts.
The US is.
Okay.
They openly talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what New Zealand's up to, but
yeah.
No,
I'm interested to find out.
I would hope so. I would hope. I worry, but I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good. There's corporate subscriptions. Defense is going to be different because they have classifications and there's other things to worry about. But a corporate company can buy a special level of membership, and then OpenAI won't take your information and use it to train their models again. So, I mean, this still comes down to a level of trust, but people are trusting software companies for all kinds of SaaS products, right? You've just got to have good contracts and hope they don't steal your shit.
Yeah. And I mean, man, you feed your data into Meta. Well, most people every day.
Yeah. If someone's going to screw you over, they're going to screw you over.
Yeah. 100%.
What more does it matter?
Yeah. Are you using any automated workflows?
I stopped. Mostly just because it wasn't what I was trying to focus on with HM, but I did. And then the free, I think I should set it back up because it's all set up to go. It was just about how many tokens I had and I was running out, and I spread myself a bit too thin. So I was starting to get a bit cooked and just trying to focus in on actually I don't know, I do HM to learn new things. So I've been really trying to think about editing and learn about that. And with only so many hours in the day, it can get a bit tiring.
Yeah. 100%. It does become a full-time job when you're doing all this kind of stuff. Hence why it's now my full-time job.
Yeah. I mean, that helps.
Yeah. But even then, now that I do it full-time, right, I still feel like I don't have enough time to do everything because now that I've got more time, I want to do more stuff. But I feel like I still don't have enough time. So
I think that's a never-ending problem though.
Yeah.
Because I have so many ideas of things I'd love to do. And it's just there's no way. There's no way I'd have the time or energy. I mean, if I didn't want to if my girlfriend would leave me, if I spent every hour of the day just sitting at my computer grinding.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Crack up. Yeah, because were you doing the auto updates and stuff with?
And I was using a program called Make.
Yep.
And that's super. If listeners haven't used it or seen it, I think it's similar. Do you say N8N?
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I think they're very similar products. It's essentially no code workflow. There is a bit of a learning curve that they glaze over about how to set it all up. But once you figure it out, I couldn't figure it out very well. A friend of mine who's an AI programmer got on a Discord call with me and explained it to me in extremely basic terms, how it all works. And we did some cool stuff with it. And I think even ended up coding a Google Doc search automation thing. So on my website, I can just put in a company name and hit look for adverse media, and it'll make a Google prompt, and then I can just hit search and it'll take you to Google. But I think they're awesome and I'd love to do more, but the things that I'm trying to do at the moment, it's not beneficial for.
Yeah. Because I use Make, and I've dabbled with N8N, but that's kind of the more advanced version of Make, and I just couldn't figure it out. It was well beyond my skill set. Even Make was I was pushing my limits. And even what I've built there is pretty basic, but it does the job. So the report that I showed before, that's pretty much a Make workflow. And it's pretty good. I'll show you. I'll put the workflow on here.
I think annoyingly, they've also because I also wanted to look at it for automating posting across different platforms.
Yeah.
And I think most of the platforms I post to don't even allow you to have bots post. I think Discord does, Telegram doesn't anymore, X doesn't anymore. I don't think so. I couldn't figure out how to do it. It says it does, but there was weird API issues. I don't think Instagram, how do you get does it automatically post it to Instagram for you, or do you have to manually do it?
Nah, Instagram is all manual. I think you can get it to do it, but I don't know how. And I've tried to figure it out, and then
there's things you can pay for that cross post for you, but it's just another expense, right?
Yeah, another expense, exactly.
So many of them.
So this is for anyone watching, I'll put up my workflow here. It's very basic, so that's cool. So this is so that report, comes from this automation. So essentially what happens is there's a webhook connected to a Python scraper. And so I've got a Python scraper that scrapes a whole bunch of different open sources for information related to the Indo-Pacific and all that kind of thing. I've got a scraper for Europe, for Middle East, for Africa, for the Americas, and they're all separate scrapers, and then they're all bundled together under one umbrella scraper, so that scrapes it all at the same time. And so I've got a bunch of different automations that are very much like this. So this is the Indo-Pacific one. So what happens when I run the script, it gets fed into the webhook. So this is always running constantly, 24/7. All the information gets fed into an OpenAI model. This one builds the report. The report gets fed into a Google Doc, which is the one I showed you. And then this OpenAI model summarizes it into a shorter format, essentially a bluff or a bottom line up front, which then feeds it into the Discord with a hyperlink back to this report for people who want to read the full report. Super easy. And now since it's all built, all I have to do is type in the command to run the script, and it builds 5 reports in about a minute 30.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And it's so simple. And I don't have a coding background. I don't have a tech or AI background. It's just, if I can do this, then anyone can,
Yeah. No, I think Make is pretty amazing for building, especially these like pretty simple, like mandrolic tasks that would take a few hours for a person to do, and are pretty like repetitive and clear in what has to be done. No. And I mean, that just shows you the advantages of AI, where a single analyst or a single person can like generate at least something. Because like there's companies that sell basically that to like customers for disgusting amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it.
Yeah. That cost me with the API credits and Make subscription, probably about $30 a month to have that. So it's money well spent. And people probably be like, oh, well, what do you even do it for? Like, what's the point? Well, I was just like, well, one, it helps me learn and how AI works and how you can automate things. But also I still, enjoy giving people information and insights that they probably won't read anywhere else.
No, I think it's all about learning new things, right? And like you're learning new skills, doing stuff like that. Skills that are probably going to be very beneficial. I think a mate of mine, the AI programmer dude, he was saying there's people whose job is now essentially to help companies make automation in their company. So they'll just go into like a company and help them be like, oh yeah, here's a task you could like automate using this software, builds the program for them, and they get paid just feral amounts of money.
Yeah, I need to learn how to get to that level.
Yeah, coding. That's just that step that I don't think I could do.
Oh man, I've been vibe coding. I vibe code.
I mean,
for my own personal use.
Yeah. And I mean, isn't that basically what most people do now?
I think so. I got a lot of flack for that, but yeah, I'd assume people are using that.
There's paid for programs that are designed for it now.
Yeah.
And like, they clearly have, I think they're like one of the most paid for like AI application there is. So I don't think it's a bad thing at this point. I think it's more of if you're not doing it, you're just wasting time.
That's one job that people probably need to watch out for as coders and developers, especially junior.
So that's it. Apparently junior coders can't find jobs anymore. Like there's a real big issue with it. But then they're now thinking about the next issue is when all of the current like mid to senior level coders leave, you have no juniors that you've trained. So like you could just screw, like, I don't know. I think there could be a bit of danger there. If you want to see another crazy AI website, a website called Lovable, you can just vibe code whole websites. in seconds. And it's disgustingly simple. You could just be like, make me a web page for this, and it'll generate the website for you, and it'll give you all of the HTML. It's wild.
Have you used it?
No, I just saw it in a video, and I was like, that's just feral.
Easy. Yeah, it's crazy
Weird
what it
name,
can do these days.
But yeah.
Let's see if I can create one.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, and there's ones that can make apps as well.
Yeah. I don't know. When I saw the video of that Lovable one, I was like, if you just spent like the last 4 years learning how to be a website developer, you'd just be like, me.
Create a web page for an open source intelligence scraper. So put in the prompt. This is Lovable, by the way, for those that are watching, and we'll see what it can do. So what it's doing now is essentially building the landing page, hero sections. So when I build my landing pages for what I do, it takes me so long.
Hey, I spent
I've got I use a drag and drop
to build a website.
Yeah.
I spent months building my website, and it was so painful.
Yeah. Like even just like the copy, like where things are meant to go, the placement, the aesthetics, it takes so long.
Even like block building ones, like it's like trying to move pictures around in a Word document where like you move it too far and it just destroys everything.
Yeah.
Mate,
and so if this thing builds me a website that's better.
You might see a upgraded Alcon Intelligence website
next
week.
Yeah.
I think your website looks really good, doesn't it?
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with my website. It's still pretty basic though, but I mean, it does the job, and it's not exactly all it has to do is just tell people who we are, what we do, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
The big one for us is the landing page for the IACC, and that's a good one.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm so interested
to see what this is going to do.
Yeah. Do you use AI at all with your YouTube videos?
Not so much. I think I could probably use it for like script writing, but I don't know. Just try and here we go.
Bruh. Wow.
Filthy. Yeah.
It's actually like not too bad.
No, not for one sentence.
Yeah, for one sentence. My sentence was create a web page for an open source intelligence scraper, like, because we're talking about that was the only thing on my mind. And so it's built this pretty, I mean, if someone said an AI built this, I'd be like, what?
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh. Okay.
Mate, it's just wild, the stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I should utilize it more for script writing, but I don't know. Then I also want it to sound like me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know about video generation. Like, I don't really, it's weird. I just find that stuff so,
Yeah. Well, that's what I think is really important moving forward with content and in growth. I think it's going to really come down to just more humanized sort of content.
Yeah. No, I
you
totally
know,
agree.
with the flaws, with the ums, the ahs, just a pretty rough and ready kind of stuff. It's like, it's just natural. You're like, oh, fuck, this dude's an actual human. I'm not listening to an AI script, you know?
That is definitely it. Which is like, one of the biggest challenges I've found with YouTube is talking naturally to the camera about a topic that has like lots of detail. Because like I'm trying to explain, like, I don't know, the last one was on like all these random drone sightings in Europe. Trying to say that in 10 minutes, hitting like so many key facts and talk normally is basically impossible. Like, because I need to be reading. So, because I need to hit all these key points, but I also need to sound human and normal. So, I don't know. It's a challenge. And I don't know, it's practice, but
I think you do a pretty good job, like far out. Videos are getting better and better each time.
Yeah, I hope so. They're taking more and more time each time. So, I know I'm putting a lot more effort into the script, as in like trying to make it sound proper, and then just like putting more into the editing. Like, because when I started trying to make videos, I was going to try and make like maps, like cool looking maps, you know, like using mapping software. So I paid way too much money for some software called like GeoLayers 3, where you can like you can make proper like maps. And
Yeah,
it
I've got
is
that too.
super hard.
Yeah.
So I've kind of just like stopped doing that and moved
Yeah.
away from that. And now I use like pre-made maps from Envato. I think that's the one I use. It's like a asset thing. And they have all the maps. I pay for it and then I just use them. It's way faster. But then I can spend more time like putting more layers onto it. So like putting text over the words and building chapters and like trying to tell a better story, because someone's going to sit there and like listen to me for 10 minutes. There should be something cool happening. Yeah. Just trying to tell a story basically, and trying to summarize like sometimes a very complex topic in 10 minutes. Because that's kind of my goal, is to explain whatever it is in 10 minutes. Because 10 minutes is a good amount of time. It's not too long. It's not too short. I can talk about a topic pretty in depth while keeping it pretty boundaried. And yeah. I know. It's interesting.
They're good, man.
And
they're
like,
good. Yeah.
I've been making these like daily 1 minute update briefs. Yeah, and that's just to keep practicing. Like that's kind of going the other way, where trying to edit down. So like in that, I'll cut gaps between, like in breaths when you talk. So I'll cut them out and like bring the words, like the bits together essentially. So it's essentially like I'm talking without breathing for an entire minute, or like 45 seconds or however long it is, but it still sounds kind of natural.
Okay.
Which is weird because I know it isn't, because I can see on the wavelength. I now know what my in-breath looks like on the wave like chart. So I can just like cut them out really fast. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Is that on your YouTube or is that at your podcast?
I put it on YouTube and Instagram.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen those pop up. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I got the 1 minute timer that goes away. That took me way too long to figure out how to do.
Man, yeah. I know the thing about geolayers. With geolayers, when I was used to, I think I made 2 videos and I gave up because I was like, this is taking way too long.
I upgraded my PC because my PC couldn't handle it.
That's why I bought like a hard up MacBook Pro for that one thing. And then I didn't do it. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. No, I think we both have the same, like, that's a cool concept. And like, I've watched so many videos on how to do it. And I can sit there and do it step by step how he's doing it. And it will never look as cool as he's done it.
Yeah.
Like, it looks too jittery, or like it doesn't look smooth, or.
Yeah.
Really impressive work. You can see why they get, like, the people who are uber good at it, why they just get hired to do it for other people.
Yeah.
Like, I think the guy, I'm going to shout him out. It's like, this thing is called Boone Loves Maps.
Yeah, that's what I was watching too.
Yeah. He makes them for like Johnny Harris and people like that. And he'll make like explanation videos of like how he does this. He's just telling you how to do his job. And it's like, still employed.
Yeah. I think I tried to do one of like, I think it was like, it might have been a rocket or something with an explosion at the end. And I just couldn't nail it. I was just like, why doesn't mine look as good? I'm like doing it step by step.
Right. And they make it look so clean and they do it so simply.
Yeah.
Like, wild.
Maybe I'm
stuff.
just dumb. Yeah.
I mean, they probably went to school to learn stuff and we went to the army. So
yeah, that is true. Nah, cool, man. Hey, we're coming up to that time.
Yeah, mate.
What's next for HM? Anything on the horizon or just BAU?
Nah, just more of the same, I think. I'm just going to keep chipping away at YouTube. I think that's the kind of the goal for this year, is to just continue to learn and refine those skills. But yeah, what about you? Got this new course coming out?
Yeah. So IACC, this is the last week of the last cohort. So I've got a few people going through the capstone exercise, which is cool. And then the next intake of that will be January next year. And then with the new course, the military intelligence operators course, which will pretty much be, I guess, a mix between our junior course that we did, Dan, and our intermediates, smashed into one in a remote learning that's probably delivered in a more efficient way. So that'll be released.
Are you trying to say it wasn't efficient?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it was 6 months overall well spent across the 2 courses.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
But yeah, so I think, that'll be a pretty good course. We're developing it at the moment. Soon to release the beta testing portion of it. That's how we built the ISCC. So we opened it up to a bunch of beta testers. They get pretty much a 90% discount, and they help us build it as we go, which is cool. And that'll be released soon. And then, the course will be released sometime next year. Exciting times.
That'd be cool. Everyone can track Russian tanks crossing the tundra.
Yeah.
Because that actually happened now, and fucking Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. They'll know how to read, military symbols, military graphics, be able to anticipate what's going to happen next based on doctrine and all that fun stuff.
All that good stuff. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds awesome, man.
Nah, it'll be cool.
Always good to chat with you.
Yeah. As always, I'll put the links down below, and I'm sure you will too. For anyone listening, this is going to be on both our platforms, this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. As well. Cool.
Cool.
Cheers, mate.
All good, mate.
I'll see you later.
No worries. Good to chat.